Plant and Food Research is known worldwide as one of the leading research companies for horticultural and arable crop sciences. With a track record dating back more than 80 years, plant breeders at the Institute have developed many of the cultivars we know and love today. While the cereal and forage cultivars developed at Plant and Food Research's Lincoln site might not be household names, they have become a key factor in the recent success of New Zealand's arable industry through the Institute's relationship with industry partner Luceti Seeds. Plant and Food Research Business Manager Ivan Laurie explains.
In the late 90s, Luceti Seeds was a licensee for some of the cultivars released by then Crop and Food Research, and then in 2005 this relationship was formalized by the joint milling wheat agreement. After that, in 2007, a feed grains agreement was also put in place for a new feed development program, mainly from imported cultivars. Further to that, in 2011, the whole program was renewed and joined together for what is now known as the Cereal Grains Breeding Agreement with Luceti Seeds. And this is a program in which Plant and Food Research and Luceti Seeds co-invest to cover the costs of the programs, and the returns come back via royalties. One of the main drivers for Plant and Food Research is to be environmentally responsible in the cultivar releases, and this is a point of difference that we have in the market. In several trials, it has been shown that at the same level of fungicide application, Plant and Food Research cultivars tend to yield better, and that is because they were selected and adapted for the local conditions and the local strains of pathogens. In recent years, of course, perhaps the most important cultivar that's been released into the milling wheat category is Conquest wheat, which is a premium 1 milling wheat, very reliable with very good sprouting resistance, and that has maintained its quality over the years. This cultivar was formally released in 2006 and continues to be the leading premium cultivar in the market. Its point of difference is that it has the milling and dough properties of hard imported wheat while maintaining competitive yields for the New Zealand environment.
In addition to Conquest wheat, Plant and Food Research have also commercialised the medium-grade milling wheat Saracen and a range of high-performance feed grains, including Exceed and Wakanui wheat, Boomer and Bumper barley, and Winslow triticale. Plant and Food Research's connection to the industry ensures a solid understanding of the traits desired by growers. New science is also decreasing the time it takes to breed these traits and helping deliver better cultivars faster.
Yield is always there. If you don't have yield that's at least as good as the current cultivars, then it's never going to get acceptance with the farmers, because that's obviously their bottom line. On top of that, we have disease resistance and traits related to the plant architecture that either make them resist lodging, the grain doesn't fall out, there's a resistance to sprouting before the grain gets harvested, and there are sort of other minor characteristics that are also important on a crop-by-crop basis. There are a number of technologies that have come on stream, I guess, over the last 20 years. The first of those really was doubled haploidy, and that enabled us to cut 5 years out of the breeding process. So instead of having to take several years to get a new pure line to be derived from the original cross, we went straight to that pure line. And then through the late 90s and in the last decade, more and more of these molecular techniques have come on board. The utilisation of those in breeding programs is still at the developmental stage, but we now have genes that are perfectly marked with a molecular marker, and the trait that they represent is quite complicated and difficult to select for in the field sometimes. Virus resistance would be an example of that, so it's much easier in fact to select directly for the gene using a molecular marker. Whilst the breeding programs at Plant and Food are primarily field-based, and we have several hectares of breeding program, that doesn't restrict us to only working during the main growing months, because we have extensive glasshouse facilities like these that enable us to do generation advances and look at specific traits, such as we're doing here at the moment with viruses. Our partnership with Luceti Seeds has been a real driver for increased uptake and success of Plant and Food cultivars. They give us very clear direction on what they want, and so that partnership has enabled us to really home in on the type of varieties that they can market and be very successful with.
Luceti Seeds is a family-owned and operated company located in Rangiora and Ashburton on the Canterbury Plains. Involved in the sale of grain and seed throughout New Zealand, as well as importing and exporting around the world, the company's investment in the cereal grain breeding program with Plant and Food Research has resulted in significant growth and delivered key advantages to the New Zealand arable industry.
There's a lot of advantages for Luzeti Seeds in dealing with Plant and Food, with them breeding cultivars for us. Having New Zealand bred specific cultivars is very important, because it not only enables specific New Zealand issues to be addressed, but it also focuses on critical things to farmers. It's great having New Zealand milling wheat industry, because it means that if there is any security of supply issues, New Zealanders will have their own milling wheat cultivars, and will be able to keep milling wheat, making flour, which of course is very important. The future relationship I can only see getting stronger and stronger. It was an aim of ours a number of years ago to have a cultivar in each of the 4 categories of milling wheat. We've now got 3 of those categories sorted, and we've got 1 new cultivar which is being introduced next year, which will fit into the 4th category, which means we'll have very strong, broad cultivars available for each category of milling wheat.
Through its partnership with Luzeti Seeds, Plant and Food Research is supporting the long-term success of New Zealand's arable industry. By delivering to market new cultivars better suited to New Zealand's growing conditions, along with production protocols to maximise sustainability, researchers are addressing the issues currently facing the industry, as well as preparing for those that may lie ahead.